You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
How do you wall of shame?
I know wall of shame. Anybody who climbed that wall to get into that building.
To another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I'm doing this quickly because Casey's only here for a minute. He's got super important work to do. Casey.
Hi, guys.
I want to ask you real quick before you have to go, before you get pulled away to more important things. First of all, dude, the dome is looking tizzite. What's going on, brother?
I got tired of the quarantine hair. It was starting to turn into Tasmaniac hair. And I hated that hair when I had it, brother. And so I shaved it all off. Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you.
Shave me if you let me.
Well, I love it. It's a good look. New Year treating you well, brother?
Yeah. Got to watch some Wrestle Kingdom. I was pretty into that. And I'm happy with the results. I won't say any spoilers so you guys can give a warning later or whatever, but I'm very happy.
Well, why don't we get into it for like 2 minutes real quick? Because I think that's as much as we'll be allowed to talk New Japan anyway.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so
what were your high moments, Case?
My low moment was Toa Hanare being the new Maven.
Wait, who?
Who? I often joke and call Jim Toa Hanare and say that's why he's not on the show and things like that. And if I ever say it again, that means I'm really mad at Jim because I hate Toa Hanare now.
I got to be honest. I thought him coming to the ring and doing a House of Fire stuff. I thought this could be the year that he's been nothing but a jobber. And then in his backstage promos, he's always sad. Like, I just got to try harder.
I'm going to go with Casey on this one. I was not impressed.
I was like, I think he's like coming. I think he's going to actually do something this year. I might start rooting for him. And then he eliminated Murder Grandpa. And I'm like, no, I'm actively wishing for bad things for him.
Yeah. There's a difference between disliking someone and hating them. I've crossed that line. He sucks worse than Yoshihashi now. It's official.
Wow.
Yoshihashi is great. He's harmless, but he also hold on, Casey. What was the deal with Chaos not taking off their shirts for that match? Like, did they know? Like, okay, our buddy's cold.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's it matter?
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna hit the gym. It's like right after the holidays, and
it's also really cold in the Tokyo Dome with the 10 people that they didn't allow in for COVID restrictions. That place was friggin' packed. I don't understand. They said it was COVID restricted and it was a small audience, but I didn't see a whole lot of empty seats.
It's because the rest of the world has dealt with the pandemic in a good and timely fashion.
Well, another thing is they're also having an outbreak, but it's nowhere near. It's like 3-digit numbers.
But can you imagine in the U.S. any major sporting event where you couldn't see gaps in seats right now, like how that would go over publicly?
The New Japan shows have always been crazy to me to see fans, because even when they have spaced out people, it's still so much more packed than anything we'll see. But I think they pushed everyone in from the top, so there are only floor seats. And there was a loophole where
so the loophole was just the capacity overall instead of the proximity of the people who were actually there, the 30,000 people that showed up.
The loophole was new tickets after the day they were declaring you can't do this.
Right.
So which does hurt them, because they would have had more if that was in America. With that loophole, you would have had the whole place pretty much.
Spreader Kingdom.
Yeah. They had a very long PDF document of what rules you had to follow that included not cheering. Which got broken a couple times in the Okada Ospreay match, which was a cool match. But I couldn't really get into it. Everyone loved it. I think I'm more of a Shingo Jeff Cobb guy, because Jeff Cobb, you know how I said he needed to bring the Matanza? He brought the Matanza.
I will say so. And honestly, I felt like it was a step further. Something about Japan has clicked in Cobb the right way.
The heel turn.
It was a great match. He looks really powerful and strong. It fits his style.
Yeah.
And And that style seemed to me to be lacking on other parts of the card. I mean, I felt like Evil brought that for maybe 3.5 seconds and then turned into WWE land. Where else was that style? That is the real New Japan style. Where was that on the rest of this card?
I feel bad that Evil had the whole thing and that he's kind of just sort of wasted it. Also, how come Dig Togo wasn't wearing one of his
Never feel sorry for Evil. Never feel sorry for Evil.
No, he's
there's
doing
that.
okay.
There's that.
No. Yeah. I would literally spend my entire career jobbing.
Yeah, he's basically the leader of the Bullet Club now. You guys can get into the Jay White stuff if you want. I think it's all fake.
Nah.
I think that's that. When I saw first of all that promo, that's one of the best promos of all time after the match, and it's after the match. I love those style of promos, the press conference sort of things. I think they're fucking fantastic, which is why I don't want Jay to leave New Japan because I think he's great at them. But also, I heard screaming in the back of my head, Outlaw, LA, Justin Harvey yelling, if you're not getting yourself over, you're not doing it right in wrestling. Jay White lost the biggest match of the year and got more over probably than all of wrestling for this entire month.
Yep.
I got to say, though, Ibushi, man, great performances in both matches.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love the guy anyway. I feel like this is a year too late. I feel like he should have won last year.
Yep.
But you did get a cool Naito run out of everything, and people were really happy. And it probably would have done better business if there wasn't a bunch of COVID stuff. It would have been a really popular draw. Now they're going into a new era with a new champion that wrestles a different style, and he's not someone you've seen with the belt before ever, which is cool as shit. It's completely new.
Yeah, I hope they can run with it. I hope they can make a little something out of it. And it feels like New Japan is open to some new things conceptually, either because of COVID or because of their changes in the front office. It feels like they're willing to take some chances, which is disappointing a little bit because, like I said, I felt like that Shingo and Cobb match was the only one that represented some of the stuff that I love about New Japan from the past. But at the same time, I'm also not opposed to some of this new direction. I thought that there were some highlights that would lead towards it, and they have had a little bit of stagnation in the past. You know, they've had a few big voids to fill. COVID has kicked every wrestling company's ass, and they're all kind of scrambling to figure out what's next. So why not this? You know,
also, everyone loves Hiromu. His matches were great, even though LP sucks. But his mocking of LP was tremendous.
I didn't hate LP as much as I wanted to this time, and I really despise him. But I just actually was entertained by LP.
Man, I love ELP, and he's one of those guys to me. I know Meef has a beef with him because of the name, but to me, he's one of those guys, especially in the Bullet Club. He's just a straight up heel, you know? Like
no.
He's a straight up
real life cunt.
He's not okay,
he's a straight up
like,
cunt. Canadian cunt.
He's Canadian.
There's too many seasons. He's Canadian, yeah.
I mean, in the name thing,
Canadian. He's so shit at wrestling that no one fucking knew of him until 3 years ago when he came to England to resurrect his career. So much so that I only thought he was around for 3 years, and he was like, actually, I chose my name in 2003. I was like, oh shit, you've been that shit for so long.
Burgess Meredith is the Penguin.
I thought he was fantastic. I loved his moves. He did a Too Sweet moonsault, and then he tweeted.
He looks like he picks up young girls.
Well, he's not really a Brit wrestling guy.
When he's going to the club, you know, with his cool shades on, trying to
not as much as
the young ladies.
Does.
Whatever. My two favorite moves of the entire Wrestle Kingdom were the Shingo's Made in Japan, and probably I hate to say it, but the Destino in Night 1, I thought was.
You got to go for the execution style Kamigoye, also known as the.
Did anybody do a bridge dragon suplex?
I loved every dragon suplex I popped for, but
no, bridged. It has to be bridged because that's beautiful.
Right. Yes. That's
what makes it hard.
I came out of my seat at 4 a.m. for the execution Kamigoye.
Yeah, I know because I didn't. mute the MMMShow account, and Byron started retweeting himself, even though I had muted him so I could sleep at 5.
Panic.
No, that was
Byron
like
already has a GIF.
More people,
6 or 7 a.m. here on the East Coast of America. Oh, you bastard.
And then I came out of my seat every time Okada did the Rainmaker variation. And then at the end, when he hit the Rainmaker, I yelled. It was awesome.
And so did the crowd. And the crowd yelled when Ospreay did it too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Okada,
so we can blame Will Ospreay for a COVID outbreak.
Yes.
I wish.
Amongst other things.
For my, I mean,
first, so Okada's, they already had the COVID by the time Okada made it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the Japanese fans there are really well behaved, and aside from packing people in tight, they're going to be way less transmissive than any other audience. But
okay, so
I want to say,
and just say generally cleaner, Byron. Say they're actually probably going to have had a bath, unlike anybody in LA.
Okay. No.
Well, and given they are more used to PPE and wearing masks and being protective in general. But here's my question. Did it need to be 2 nights? Did this Wrestle Kingdom need to be 2 nights?
I don't think either one did, and I don't think they should continue. I hate that it's 2 nights because you're just going to get filler matches like fucking Taguchi and his team. And like, I know that was for like a belt, but it still sucks.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like having watched this after the fact, that like if I had edited my own version of this, it would have been a really great 4-hour event, which would have still been long, but it would have been wall-to-wall stuff that I actually cared about, that meant something to the fans, and it would have come off as the best wrestling event of the year. But as it stands, because they didn't do that, I feel like it dragged on and it sucked a little bit of the air out of it. Now, given the Jay White thing wouldn't have played out as well as it did if it was only a single night, but that was really the only consideration I could see for having this be a 2-night event.
Well, see, that was born out of the 2 nights because the 2 top titles, the junior and the heavy, were basically here's a qualifier match and then here's the championship match on night 2.
I get it.
Also, what's really cool is that Ibushi's held the title for less than a week, and well, basically it was the same night. It's like 2 nights. He's already tired of carrying those 2 fucking belts around, and so unify them.
No, you could tell afterwards, like he just couldn't keep it.
The Intercontinental one was just like, I don't even really need this one. This is like falling off my shoulder. I'm having trouble cutting a promo as it is. What is going on here?
It doesn't hold its shape well. It's been very abused because Naito chucks it everywhere. You know?
Exactly.
It.
Just
but here,
another thing, really quickly before I go.
Yeah.
Yuya Uemura is a dead man.
Yes.
And I'd like to retrospectively, I'd like to preemptively say rest in peace, Yuya Uemura, because he's the young boy that makes the good mean faces.
Yeah.
And he's had enough of Suzuki's shit, so he's challenged him to matches, which, great way to use Suzuki, New Japan. Have him feud with Young Lions.
Is he the one that's rumored to fill in the Tiger Mask slot next?
I don't know, but he's the only one that body type would fit. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I heard rumors, which to Justin's New Japan style comment, I feel like that's one of the promising programs moving forward. That is going to be pure, brutality. And I think, once you get Ishii back in like an actual program, you're going to see a lot more of that.
Well, and once travel restrictions are better too, and they can get some of the talent that they've been developing here in America on a plane, or start mixing it up with other promotions again, I think they'll be able to
don't always put Suzuki in the best place, but putting Ishii in that fucking beginning Rumble, and that's like it. Come on, that's a crime against humanity right there, and wrestling.
See, that's a shame too, because it's like they filled slots with filler, but they couldn't make room to give him a program that was worthy of him. It just, whatever it was, wasn't working. I do want to give a shout out to Young Lion Carl Fredericks, who's my Twitter friend. He was sad that he wasn't booked at Wrestle Kingdom. Hey,
sad that he wasn't.
Some people make friends. Maybe you guys should try.
Such a good friend.
Give him another year.
Friends this week at the Capitol Building, aren't you, Byron? Stealing podiums.
Wait, what?
Is that the
No.
podium behind you above the Delusions of Moron sign?
It looks
that's
like
Drago.
that's the same emblem.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. But New Japan Strong, by the way, is a good show to watch. It's one of those, it's not a lot. It's a few matches. It's not a big investment, but you still get guys like Kenta and Jay White and such coming in. And you have some Ring of Honor guys. But you have Young Lions and you have Fred Rosser, who's doing a great job.
That's the one I was going to add. He did our show.
It's a good show.
Friend of the show, Fred Rosser.
Friend of the show, Fred Rosser. Yes. All right, you guys. I'm a friend of the show too because once again I quit and
you're fired.
I should get going.
Get out of here.
I will talk to you gents later. I did not watch this episode. So what episode of Lucha Underground are you guys talking about?
Oh shit, yeah.
More sexy star versus Superfly.
Oh, you would have loved the match. You would have loved it because Superfly beats her and then kicks the shit out of her.
He really does. He really dang diddly does.
Okay, well, maybe I am a little sad that I didn't watch it yet because
also,
I've been busy.
And we're in the crowd for this one. We're way far back up in there, but I'm there. J Ray's there. Byron, you. So except for me, we're all there.
Yeah. Hey, Casey, if you are going to watch the show and tune back in the 2 hours when we're halfway through the show, don't watch Lucha Underground at work because Katrina cuts a sexy promo and it's not safe for work.
Yes. So we'll be right back, Sans Casey, and we're going to talk about some sexy things there. We're going to talk about some networks that have completely disappeared that used to show Lucha Underground. We're going to talk a little bit about AEW and three other things on this very, very normal but special New Year's episode of Mats and Mayhem, right after we hear from Denise Salcedo over there in Lucha Central with everything that is happening this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network. Did I do all that right?
You bums.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a reminder of where and when to catch all of the great network content this week. Get the full lineup and listen to all of our shows in the podcast network section of luchacentral.com. Sundays on the Lucha Central Facebook page, world-traveled shooter of the camera kind, Jerry Villagrana goes mano a mano with a fellow photographer to throw down about some of their favorite photos they have taken at Lucha Libre events. Monday, Business of the Business returns as Mass Republic President Kevin Kleinrock takes you inside how your favorite Lucha Libre merchandise gets made. On Tuesdays, Mats and Mayhem takes you inside the world of Lucha Underground as they take you weekly through the series with the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of special guests from the groundbreaking series. Check out the premiere video stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Lucha Central YouTube channel and at luchacentral.com. Then listen to it on your favorite podcast platform every Wednesday. Tuesday nights live, it's Wrestle Boss, where Fabi Chulo talks MMA and pro wrestling with special guests and listener call-ins. Visit WrestleBossLive.com Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific to listen live or call in with questions or download the show on podcast platforms on Wednesdays. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. Special guests and a whole lot of fun make it one of the most talked about shows in Mexico. Thursdays, it's Straight Out of the Bodega with Papo Esco and PWR promoter Gabriel Ramirez, as they have guests from throughout the wrestling world pull up to give an inside look into their careers. From indie standouts to television superstars, each week brings a new name and perspective. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast, one in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms, either by their own series name or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show pages to get all of the shows in one easy feed. And please consider giving a rating to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central. Have a great week.
Hey, Justin, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, so I got one more thing in the mail, and it said open on air. I don't know why it says that, but
Okay, I don't know what this is, so I'm sticking around to see.
All right, so yeah, Kate stuck around just for the last little thing here.
Cocaine.
Is this ricin? Like, is this gonna kill me or something, Byron? I just saw you at the
Put
Capitol
talc
there.
in it.
It's cocaine. It's through, you know.
See what's in here.
It's a star.
You sent me a piece of cardboard. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what this actually is.
Excuse me, that's my timer telling me I'm okay for a break.
Did
Charlotte Flair.
Is it safe to show on the air? Can I even show this?
All I can see is naked. I can't see any clothes.
This is the best Hanukkah present, Kwanzaa gift, or whatever I've ever gotten. For the audio listeners, this is a picture of Charlotte Flair. She's not completely showing any of the naughty bits. I don't know if you can see that there without the glare. But pretty close to it, and she's pulling up her socks or lacing up her boots.
I feel like you're gonna have to blur that out if you show this on the show, dude.
She's lacing up her boots, and it's autographed. It says, "To Outlaw with much love, you will always be my 14-time champion. Love, Charlotte Flair."
You know, he had you on the full screen, so we can see that none of that's there.
I know. None of that. It doesn't actually say any of that. It's just her signature, but it is
audio listeners. Here's what she wrote.
Actual signature that is an actual signed 8x10. I can't believe she picks this photo to sign and send to people. She must know that there are pervs like me out there in the world that actually will collect.
Yeah, she works in wrestling. I think she knows.
So
she knows.
It's funny because the only two autographed 8x10s I have of any kind from wrestlers are from her and Victoria.
Oh, dude, I got a TJ Perkins one in a pro wrestling crate that I'll send you.
That'll be worth something after Meef goes and assassinates him.
You have to get in line for that.
Wow. So anyway, thanks guys. Thanks fellas. That's
You're welcome.
That's a wonderful collector's item to add to my treasure trove of wonderful wrestling.
Message Andrade and say she's been sending you pictures.
Chickened out, and I'm just gonna say shame on Byron for chickening out on the prank.
What prank? That was the prank.
Was he gonna put panties in the bag or something?
No,
too?
He was gonna put an autographed picture of Zack Sabre Jr. on top of it.
Oh. You could have drawn a penis on. Flopping down.
Notice what we did not talk about with Wrestle Kingdom 15. Thank you. There's a reason.
There was a great moment though when he was
Zack Sabre Jr.
And then he was gotta do a thing. His alarm went off. We don't have to talk about Lab Sabre Jr.
Had his partner to
technical wizard, technical wrestler, 5 years in a row. Wrestling Observer newsletter. I love you, Zack Sabre Jr. Don't listen to these other guys.
Oh, Zack Sabre Jr.
He sacrificed himself for a Tower of Doom spot. He said it's the fucking Tokyo Dome. Bye, Casey.
No, not buying it. No.
Good.
The wrestling noodle.
Take him and roll him in a big ball of Sting, and that would be fine by me. All right, so here's what I want to talk about. Thanks for joining us. Look, guys, this year has been crazy. Thanks for joining us in general. I was going to say this at the top of the show, but Casey jumped in, so we just wanted to get right to the good stuff. But it has been a tremendously bizarre year for a lot of people. So far. I just mean the last 12 months in general, but
okay. The last 12 days.
Don't worry, you're here safe and sound with us, and we're just talking some wrestling nonsense. It's not to discount any of the nonsense that's going on in the world between stormings of capitals and people Brexiting up there and all sorts of COVID-y things going on in the world and whatever.
I might be a fan of Brexit. Because one of the only trade deals we managed to sort out was with Mexico.
Hey, cha-ching!
So I might not need a visa.
No, that's not how that works.
That's how we work, and Byron.
Did you you're making your own United Kingdom?
Yes, the United Kingdom of Meatloaf.
Yeah,
Mexico.
You can actually do that, by the way. You can actually make your own country. You have to go through lots of paperwork and come up. You actually have to, address things like capital punishment and stuff, but you can make your own country or principality, shall I say? You can be your own principality. I can make my own house into a principality if I wanted to.
Yes, you just have to follow certain rules, right? But whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we know that now.
But regardless, look, so you came here to talk about some fun, to hang out with us while we talk about some fun wrestling stuff. So let's talk about something super duper fun, which is the demise of the parent network of Lucha Underground.
Oh,
since
God,
you have last seen us, El Rey Network doesn't even exist anymore. The entire channel is gone. You want to talk about Lucha Underground being gone? The whole station is gone.
And Justin, tell them when we actually realized, and tell them when the actual report came out.
Oh my God. Here we are. I know people that work there. We stay very in the loop. And not only that, I was actually in the process of communicating with people that work there, trying to figure out stuff about the lawsuit with Factory Made, which is also connected very tightly with El Rey and blah, blah, blah. No one said anything. It was 2-week-old news by the time that we all found out that the network was going to go off the air. There had been reports out there. The major trades didn't even pick it up because Variety didn't even care. Nobody cared that this entire network that is tied to a huge Hollywood director who has a monster hit movie out on Netflix right now, this We Can Be Heroes thing that is like a sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like, it's not that Robert Rodriguez has disappeared or isn't in the news. He's at the top of his game still. He's making money hand over fist. He made another kids movie for like $8 million that, Netflix paid him like $70 million to make. The guy is pure profit when he makes these things. The Shark Boy and Lava Girl movies, the Spy Kids movies, Machete, those movies made so much money and cost absolutely nothing to make. He goes in a green screen room. He builds 2 sets.
Ranch.
Yeah, like literally he's making them out in the middle of Texas. He gets a couple of his buddies to come by and like make a movie for a few weeks. He gets big name people in it because literally they only have to show up for like 3 or 4 days and then one more day of ADR looping, so they get these big casts attached to do peripheral roles, and they're just made out of money. Him and Tyler Perry have the highest profit margins for their movies of anybody. Tyler Perry goes and makes a movie for $7 million, and that's mostly just to pay for Medea's wardrobe. And then the movie will gross like $100 million. People don't understand. So they're not like these $200, $300, $400 million movies, but it doesn't matter because the profit margin, like Avengers goes on to make a lot of money, but it costs $300 million to make and then another $200 million to market. And then sure, it makes $1 billion, but you're looking at the percentage. Like, oh my God, those movies cost nothing to make. I swear to God, I don't know if Robert Rodriguez has ever spent more than Alita Battle Angel. I think they spent $100 million something on $110 million to make and wasn't a huge success. So maybe there's one time where Rodriguez wasn't made out of money, but
you know what we should do for like, this reminds me, by the way, people like,
try and make one for $8.
People like Ro Jogan moved to Texas and others, and everyone's like, California's losing it. And it's like, this guy's showing up at the Laugh Factory and, like at the store every fucking night still, or, whatever. But it's like, he's not living in Texas. A lot of people figured out that you could just put your home there and you don't pay taxes.
Correct.
Right? So here's what I propose that we do to, undercover buck the system. Let's get a house there that we share.
In Tejas?
In Tejas, one of the cheaper areas, but cheaper. And we have our own rooms, because we're going to need a privacy. Because, we don't, we're
private things. Yes.
We do private things.
Can yours be soundproof so I don't have to testify against you later?
I'm going to be on the second floor. So everyone on the first floor knows.
It'll be the basement, Shirley Byron.
When I'm running like 5 browsers.
Weren't our rooms next to each other when we did that thing up in Tahoe?
I think so, but we may have had like a bathroom.
There was a bathroom separating the two, though.
But it was weird because if you had a day off and you like stroll out of your room to take a shower, the production table's filled with everyone at work watching.
Which was all the women on the crew, too. So that was kind of awkward and weird.
Like 2 of them. But yeah.
That was still all of them.
That's true. Yeah. But I propose we get a house and we turn it into our own sort of production studio with as little overhead as possible. And then we can come up with an idea and then go to Texas and shoot it.
Sure.
But we don't have to live there and actually be Texans. Ugh.
I don't know. I mean, Gibby Haynes is a Texan.
There's some good Lucha stuff out there. So
I like Butthole Surfers. He's from Texas.
That's true. I'm kidding. Austin's a great place. I've been in so many towns and cities.
Austin's awesome.
Richard Rawlins is in there, isn't he?
No, he's Dallas area.
Dallas. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm good with Austin.
200,000 miles.
Of my cities where I would go that I think people would find surprising. I love Asheville. Yeah. Even though it's a little gentrification-y. I love Austin. Austin's great. I like Bend, Oregon. And I know these places sound super duper white, but they're also really nice and they have
what about Santa Fe?
And food. Santa Fe is
it's just nice, but what's there?
I like the buildings.
The Southwest doesn't do as much for me. Like Austin is a little bit that climate, but more trees and water.
Yeah.
So I like it a little bit better.
They got a great river that you could go swim in.
Where?
Is it River of Piss?
But that's kind of why I like Bend, Oregon, man. It's kind of got a dry climate, but it's also got like hiking trails and a lake that goes or a river that goes right through the middle of town and a decent movie theater and great restaurants. Same as Austin. Austin's kind of that way. It's got great food scene. Anyway.
No, but you want to move to Maine or somewhere with a swamp. No. Because it's easy to kill people and hide the bodies.
I know, which is why every Stephen King thing takes place up there. And why, like, if you read Stephen King, you know that Maine is a creepy place. Don't go there.
I love the idea of Maine because it's just endless forests and cold.
Dude, I spent all my childhood summers in Friendship, Maine, and as nice a place as Friendship is, very spooky. Very, very spooky.
What about Manchester? Manchester, is that New England?
Manchester by the sea? Have you seen the movie? Yeah. How depressing. No. What the? You want to hang yourself?
Have you been to Blackpool, Byron, in England?
That's true.
No, I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah. Living in England is pretty sad in itself. Every meal is soggy and wet, cold.
So speaking of soggy, wet, and cold, here's the deal now.
Yeah.
So let me catch people up a little bit on the story. Univision unpartnered itself with El Rey. And you have to understand, too, that El Rey, there were a lot of these minority contracts that went out in lots of areas of business, entertainment being one of them a few years back. And El Rey benefited from that in a lot of ways. And it was rightful, too. I mean, it was a good network that was created out of a good cause and kind of good legal stipulations. But a lot of that stuff is starting to fall apart now. So their carriage deals weren't holding up. I mean, over the last 2 or 3 years, even the last season of Lucha Underground became hard to watch because El Rey was getting dropped from, different carriers, which, by the way, also proves that season 4 actually almost did better in numbers than people think because it did the same numbers as season 3 and it was being carried in less places. It was harder to watch and it was still doing the same kind of numbers. So honestly, season 4 was not some big wasteoid season in regards to viewership.
Yeah.
As much as people want to say, that it was declining and this, that, and the other thing, the amount of money it was generating and making for them wasn't any less.
Yeah.
The audience hadn't turned on it in viewership, whether they had in content or whatever, but it's like, you could talk all sorts of crap about WWE Attitude Era and, the suck it stuff and people bitching and complaining about how vulgar WWE television had gotten. But then all of a sudden it's getting 11s in the ratings. So you can't say that it hurt their numbers. Regardless, so basically Univision, who was one of the major corporate partners, bowed out of the whole thing and kind of left El Rey sitting there. They went through the books. They were looking at this, that, and the other thing between COVID and them not being able to produce a lot of new content. They basically had become this home for reruns, and old episodes of Knight Rider and various things. They had a few original ideas, but not much original programming left. So El Rey as a network on cable is gone. However, if you're looking at entertainment news right now, look around and see what's going on with OTT, over-the-top networks, and cord-cutting stuff, and even linear-style cord-cutting options like Pluto. The ad revenue is huge right now. This is the way of the future. People are getting rid of cable because why have cable when for $30 you can go to Target, buy a Roku, you've already got to have this high-speed internet, you turn on Pluto, and it's just like cable, and maybe better because you got like a whole channel that's Doctor Who all day long, a whole channel that's 007 all day long, a whole channel that's
Jesus Christ, this is not doing well so far, Justin.
What? Those are great shows.
But what I'm saying is,
James Bond.
But here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying.
I know.
No one has been fired from El Rey Network. So this says to you, well, what the heck is going on here? How do you have a network that's still running, that's still paying its employees? They're just going to go. They're going to go digital. That's got to be the goal right now.
Justin.
Yeah.
I think there's something afoot.
You think so? I
mean, didn't someone mention something like that?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's any big surprise. I think that it's a better world for Robert Rodriguez anyway, whether he goes with a linear channel that's basically just porting over, what was happening on El Rey to an OTT network. But why not? I mean, there's no Knight Rider channel yet on Pluto, so why not it just be El Rey? And they can show their monster movies and occasionally do an original program. And the ad revenues are just going up and up and up. So if he can be a station that came from real cable and is coming over there now, maybe he'll fare better than some of the other ones, because some of the best stuff on those kind of platforms is kind of the schlocky, fun, retro stuff. So to be another network doing that on a digital format, and the better case scenario is if he can find a way to etch himself into more of an English-speaking Latino niche digital platform where he brought in more content, and if he could get some sports programming and this, that, and the other thing, he could make real money there with a $5 to $10 subscription a month, full digital platform, because people are willing to pay for a la carte services like that, but they have to meet a specific need. He would have to be serving for real English-speaking Latinos with news coverage, sports, television programming, making things that are really accessible to English-speaking Latinos with an entire network that could be digital. So I think that El Rey may be gone, but I don't think it's dead. And it might come back in a different form. But Robert Rodriguez himself and the people around him, I think he's going to keep some of them employed. Yeah. And I'm just talking about the core network. Now, El Rey as a whole has all these other investors and people who have partnered with it, and FMV, Factory Made, and those people who are also part of it. I don't think that they'll necessarily be involved in the next iteration, but I think taking it off the air makes it so that they don't have to be. I do, however, believe that their rights and El Rey's rights or claims to Lucha Underground will be let go in the near future if they haven't already done that. So I don't believe that you will ever again see Lucha Underground affiliated specifically with El Rey Network, even with the Lucha Libre, FMV, Factory Made Ventures still having ownership of that IP and them still being integrally part of El Rey. I don't think that the hassle would ever be worth it for them to try to bring that back to an El Rey platform. Now, what they're going to do with MGM and Lucha Libre FMV, I don't know, because MGM doesn't really retain any of the intellectual property, but MGM still has the rights to make the property into any entertainment or TV type shows. So without MGM involved, FF whatever, the LLC can't make the show right now. So there's still some of these rights that are up in the air, things that are back and forth. To me, it all pretty much just signals that, sadly, Lucha Underground has to die because it's too complicated. Because part of the magic was getting all those chefs in the kitchen and everyone being all excited about working together. Now you have exactly the opposite. You have all these entities involved that made it special that are either now exiting altogether, like Dorian, who originated the whole friggin' idea, whether you want to give him credit for it or not. It would not exist without Dorian. He isn't involved at all. Dorian Roldan has no claim to Lucha Underground in any fashion anymore. Not characters,
or any
not
AAA
IP, not TV rights. Well, yes, and somehow in the process, he still has claim to his IP from AAA in Mexico. So he does still have claim to it there, but he has literally no claim on any part of Lucha Underground. And now with the whole El Rey thing, you've got Robert Rodriguez and Skip Chasen, who were very integral parts of it, who are very quickly not having anything to do with it much at all. Now you've got MGM, who looks like it is probably going to get purchased and moved over to somebody else. And I can't see any new owner of MGM with the amount of problems and things that they're acquiring by acquiring MGM, giving even a half of a thought about Lucha Underground. The only way for anyone at MGM to care about it is if someone in Burnett's department, which would be Eric Van Wagenen, who still works closely in Burnett's side of MGM. But that's saying that those guys are even still there. If Burnett gets pushed out, does EVW stay around? Does he try to branch off and do his own thing? I mean, I feel like he could have a network job at almost any network at this point and be an executive. I feel like he would just exit and go be an executive at Universal or somewhere else. And not bother with it unless Burnett's leaving and starting up something new, or unless Burnett is sticking around at MGM. I feel like if Burnett exits MGM at any point in time, whether it's purchased or not, I feel like Van Wagenen would not even go with Burnett. He would just stake a claim somewhere else in the world where he would be more than readily accepted. So basically what it means is there's no advocates for the program coming from that side either. It pretty much means Lucha Underground is dead, finally dead, in the ground, dirt on top of it, 8 feet under.
Coming
dead.
Soon is Doctor Who with Bear Grylls as the Doctor.
But I will say this on the subject. You never know, so tune into our show next week.
Yeah!
The one thing for sure about Sting is that you never know.
Never talk about Sting to my face.
Would have been great in Lucha Underground.
Really?
They had so many rafters for him to walk in.
Look, we got to take a break. If we're going to talk about Sting, we can come back and talk about Sting, but let's not even do it in this segment.
El Scorpion as Tucker.
Go wash the stench of that off my body. Oh,
the stain.
We'll be right back. Woo!
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadors Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Conan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
You know what I got to do, guys? I want to talk about Lucha Underground, but I'm going to do that soon. First, I want to talk about New Year's Bash and New Year's Evil and all the things named New Year's something.
They were great shows.
Well, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say great, but I'd say that they were shows.
They existed in a time period.
Well, can we first? Do we want to cover Brody at all?
We can. So here's what I'll say about that. Leading into that, the Brody thing was tragic, and I was going to kind of lead off the show with this of that we're coming out of this 2 or 3 weeks of remembrance of Brody in both WWE and AEW. Tremendous loss for all the people around. Absolutely was still doing great work in 2020, and glad that TNT retired that version of the belt. I thought that was a very fitting tribute and giving that to his kid. Yeah. That all worked for me. I thought some of the stuff with Brody Lee was a bit opportunistic, and I feel like it's unfortunate, but I also feel like when you have to give a current performer that much space in what's going on in the wrestling product as a whole across the whole industry, that's bound to happen. I felt that some of the stuff was a little disingenuous, and also I think it would be disingenuous for me to go off on some big huge Brody Lee thing because I didn't follow him that much. I mean, he wasn't one of my top guys, but I can say that I think that he was an asset to the industry and a loss to the industry now that he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, as a fan, I was super excited, and that's really where I can approach this from as well. I was super excited for his TNT title run, for his AEW run in general. I didn't know anything really about him. I didn't even watch his AEW podcast as well. But when he passed, and just the outpouring of all these messages across, his whole career across all companies, that was really what affected me the most, was to see that he was such a great man, and to see a genuine outpouring to him from so many people. And as a fan on the outside, who never even interacted with him as a fan, it's just as sad as the whole situation was. And it was sad. Everyone in the know knew since October he was going to die, and they kept it quiet out of respect for his family, which is another thing to this, where it's nice to see a genuinely good, heartfelt, genuine moment in the industry.
Right. And that's what it was, and it dominated the airwaves rightfully in wrestling for at least one solid week, while we were on our hiatus. But that being said, this was really the first week back for wrestling in Mexico, except for LWRG, whatever,
IWR,
whatever, those guys.
Don't they get shut down all the time?
And no, they're the ones that still ran, and they're idiots for doing it, because everyone else in Mexico basically canceled their shows. The whole thing went red or whatever on their charts, and everything was determined unsafe, and those idiots still ran shows. But Lucha Libre basically is currently shut down. Pretty much everything in the world south of Los Angeles is just an absolute, Mad Max film at this point. So, it's one of the reasons why I haven't even flown back yet. I have stuff that I absolutely need to do in Los Angeles, but couldn't do it if I was there anyway. So it doesn't really even matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Lucha Libre was pretty shut down. So, but this week was pretty much the first week back. You had New Year's Evil with NXT, and you have New Year's Smash Bash, whatever. I feel like I heard one of them call it the wrong thing on the show. But New Year's Smash Part 1 for
Billy.
Hi Billy Beaver.
You want to check this out? I found this out the other day, Billy. My cat doesn't like to be played like a guitar. Watch. Play a song.
Wait, I should be playing a Green Day song. That would really annoy the cat.
Okay, I'm sorry, Billy. Billy, I'm sorry.
So I got to start with New Year's Evil. First of all, Dexter Lumis, I love what they're doing with Dexter. Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit reminiscent of how Elias got very consistently used for a long time, to the point where his non-gimmick became a gimmick, and is propelling his entire career now when he's allowed to talk and do things with it. I don't know if Dexter has that power later. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know where he came from. I never saw him before WWE.
Right.
I almost don't want to know, because I'm sure it'll break my heart and we'll find out something awful about the guy. But
he's a comic book guy.
I have a fun story about him. I didn't know anything about him, but someone was at one of those autograph shows, like the big event in by the airport in Queens or something. And there was this one guy who was about to close up his autograph desk, and someone was like, I need you to sign something. And he needed some type of merch. The guy didn't have any merch. So he ran up, found Dexter Lumis under his shoot name, or whatever his name at the time was, and Dexter quickly drew a caricature of the guy, like down to the wire in time. And the guy ran it back down to him and got him to sign it. He got everything he needed. Dexter, saved the day by
got his buddy some gas money.
Yeah.
That's I mean, look, and that's what you got to do with those kind of shows, man. You got to hustle. You got to have your
No, the fan hustled because the fan wanted something.
The fan did it. That's amazing.
Like, what can I? So he went and like asked the favor. It's different if you're asking a brother for the favor, but the fan was asking him for that. It was so. There's your background. There's the entire history of Dexter Lumis.
So him as the host, it was the complete opposite of Shotzi hosting the Halloween thing. Well, because she's boisterous and loud and all, and all.
She was the best.
No, and that was great too. So now you have the exact opposite thing, and him sitting down at commentary and not saying anything. Like he's adjusting the microphone. I love those subtle little things like that. And kudos to WWE and whoever's over at NXT, kind of shepherding that idea. I like where he's going. I like what they did with him and Grimes, even though it was overall just basically silly and inconsequential, but it didn't matter. It was entertaining, and that is part of what this is supposed to be about. And the guy can go in the ring.
Yeah,
I have not disliked any of his performances since I've seen him. Not one.
You know what's cool? Looking back, big picture stuff. Cameron Grimes is on the shelf for surgery, and he got to have one good program in probably while he was still hurt the whole time with Dexter. That was a good, entertaining program. Got him a lot of airtime. And he got to work around his injury before he went off to surgery.
Right, which is the way to do it, and I like that. The other good thing I'm going to say about NXT right now is I like that they're investing in these entrances. I think they saw that it worked with Cross, even though Cross's has been scaled back a little bit now in the CWC. His entrance doesn't quite work as well in this venue as it did in the other one, and I think they need to iron out some of the kinks there. But the fact that they're doing that with other performers like Zaya and whatever, is smart. Like they're making these guys look huge when they're wrestling in a garage.
Have you read William Stephen Lord Regal's book?
No,
part of. Yeah, you've read it. It's just been so long since you read it, right?
No, I've never read it.
I have it on a Kindle somewhere if you want to borrow it.
I might because it's funny. I don't read a lot of wrestling books. I tend to read more. I don't know.
I get
stuff when I read.
I get what you mean.
Storm Chasers fan fiction.
Yes, always.
Oh man!
And Byron placed his probe into the heart of the storm.
Into the storm's eye.
Twister.
No, but Regal brought up how because he talks about why he has so much vaudeville element to his character, the faces and everything, and he says that. The moment when you step out from the curtain, that first moment when the audience sees you, that's when they figure out what they think of you. And and so that plays into the entrance. And that's one of our critiques of AEW. They don't have really, it took them forever to get their champ to have a cohesive entrance. We could talk about that later, but it's, and Triple H,
it's great, by the way.
Right. And
the lead up is too long before the music hits. Something about it's still not working, but whatever. We can move on.
Yeah, but you even see like Triple H is a guy who got it, where he's like, I need an entrance. I need to have choreography, with camera angles, and in addition to pyro that you get if you're a star. But if you're not a star, you still need a bike. I want to dress as Conan, the Destroyer or whatever for.
But you also want identifiability, which is. The people that are missing with ring entrances right now, and the two that are bugging me the most are Cody and Kenny Omega. Because if you think about that Triple H thing, what do you get? Right off the front, you get, boom, time to play the game. You know what's coming. Stone Cold, you hear the glass shatter, and you're there.
If you smell
in it. Undertaker, you hear the gong, and
Undertaker's gong.
You are there immediately. If you're not there in the first 15 seconds, these slow build entrances, and I get it because of the Finn Balor thing. I get it because of the way Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance worked. And they were great. But also Bobby Roode. Like if you look at how his entrance was getting over, it was more instantaneous. It was just as big as Shinsuke and Finn. And when they started it, he was in NXT and he was nobody. He was coming over from TNA and nobody gave two craps about Bobby Roode. And that entrance made him in WWE. Given they squandered it as soon as he went up to the.
I was going to say, but no one cares about Bobby Roode.
But in NXT, Bobby Roode looked like the number one superstar in the world. And you would immediately, as soon as you heard his entrance, you would go, oh my God, why is Bobby Roode on this little show? Shouldn't he be WWE champ or something?
Here's a bit of behind the scenes info. That theme, Glorious, was first meant for Shinsuke, and he passed it up.
Well, it's not like Shinsuke's theme was bad news. It certainly worked.
Oh, his is awesome. I love the heel version with the words.
And good on Bobby Roode for being able to pick up that leftover when he came in, because Glorious was glorious and worked great for his character. I mean, he felt like ravishing Rick Rude when he came out. He felt like old school Flair when he came out. It was perfect.
Cody's done some there's a lot of self-indulgent stuff in Cody's entrance, which you don't fault him for. He's supposed to be the biggest star of his own company. Sure, present yourself, but it's not working.
Circumstance of it doesn't bother me. It's the initial reaction part of it. And Kenny's too. Like Kenny's would work in a stadium with 80,000 people, but it doesn't have that instantaneous hit. It's waiting for the slow build. It's waiting for things to ramp up. It is a little more like Finn's entrance, but something about it isn't working with the timing. His breaking through or busting out of the tunnel part of it is taking too long or not quite hitting enough. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this last week they shortened that and they had less women out front, and they're timing it out. It's like it was better. And I also don't expect his stuff to be super tight in general, because his character is pretty much a guy from the 80s who hasn't stopped doing cocaine yet, but he should soon-ish. Maybe have a bit more fun. Come on, but
a little less teeth gritting, a little more chill out.
But still, it's I don't know. I also think there's just that element of the indies where it's like you play. It's like what CM Punk would come to the ring, play AFI's Misa Quintero, whatever the fuck the song is, for like 2 minutes before he walks out to the ring. And when you're CM Punk in front of 100 people who bought your T-shirt, it's kind of epic in that small room. But
look, there's a way to do it. Like Rob Van Dam was doing it, coming out to Respect or whatever. They would let that track play 3-4 times sometimes before Rob would even come out. Like Rob would
RESPCT.
It's not. No. Walk is the song, right? What? Isn't that what it's called?
Wait, what?
Walk.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
That's but it's not like he hasn't forgotten his segment was next before, right?
But I don't think that was
the best entrance, and this needs to come back.
He would wait for his music to hit and start lacing his boots.
Yeah.
And by the time it came out, there would be 400 people in a room, and it would sound like 40,000 because they were ready. It was so identifiable, and even when he got his WWE music and it was different, it didn't matter. This guy, who was at best a mid-carder, though I think he was way better than that personally. Yeah. But if you're talking about the grand scheme of his overall popularity, he was a high-level mid-carder. He was getting huge arena pops because that anticipation was there. The character was there. The thumbs, the whole thing was there. I just feel like a lot of these people aren't doing that right now. I commend NXT that they are. I think they're learning that. They're starting to get.
I think that's always been a thing with NXT, and maybe it's just not everyone there is picking up on it.
No, I think what happened is they had a lull period. They had some issues with their music rights. They were having a little trouble designing new walkouts and whatnot. I think they're over that hump now.
But you see it. Shotzi's the best. If I don't know how many times I could say that and it not be enough.
Shotzi's she shot a pedophile in the balls, so
which is. Not bad work. But she also showed up in full gimmick, full character. You know, other people, they come out and they're like, what am I going to do with my hands? I'm going to come out to the ring and look tough. I have to do one more thing. Count to 3. She already had all of her shtick, and she'd do the tank to the ring, run. She had almost too many things. You could see them working it out. And at the CWC, it worked out perfectly because now when she finishes to the hard cam, she has the Tank and Shotzi balls, whatever, on the big screen behind her.
Correct.
Does the howl, and it's like that to me, like that was awesome. But that to me was like you could see the work in progress.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Shotzi and Cross work because guess what? Shotzi was Shotzi Blackheart before she got to NXT. Yeah. She was this character. They didn't have to create the character for her. Karrion Kross was Killer Kross and was Kevin Cross, but guess what? They were all still versions of this character. So that's not where they had to put in the time and effort. And instead, it allowed them to do things like honing an entrance and honing the smaller elements because they weren't trying to build a ground up character. Whereas I feel like that's what they are building Cameron Grimes' character from ground up. They're building a Dexter Lumis. They're building the Archer of Infamy.
I don't know. See, I think Archer of Infamy, which by the way, is it happening to you too, where you think of that as his name before his actual name?
Damian Priest?
Yeah. I call him.
I also. Does anybody else think he's a little bit vampire?
This guy. This guy's coming out.
But he's the exact opposite of Cameron Grimes to me. Cameron Grimes to me, and he's doing a bit of a departure what he did before, but I think he's just incredible with his character. And he just comes out with his hat and his smile, he's like the kind of guy who wanders around until he gets his ass kicked. Only he's actually kind of badass, and he doesn't always get his ass kicked. And I think he's great. I think Archer of Infamy is constantly looking to have a personality somehow.
I agree. So here's the thing. Let's talk about this match. Let's talk a little bit on New Year's Evil. I want to get into. Everyone knows that I'm a Cross mark or fan or whatever you want to call it. But I will not give this match the highest marks for Karrion Kross or Damian Priest. I don't necessarily think it's their fault, but as mentioned a few weeks ago, I feel like this was an ill-advised match.
Yeah.
I feel like they knew that though, so they put it on first so they could kind of talk through it. I don't know whose idea this was, but it's problematic on a few levels. First, let me talk about why the match wasn't great, and then let me talk about what the impact of that is, because I feel like the impact of that is more far-reaching than I wanted it to be now that I'm seeing it and realizing what it means. There were some things that were great. The Muay Thai standoff with those two guys was great. They do have similar move sets. They're not exactly the same guy, but obviously they're performing kind of in the same realm of power moves combined with some athletic wrestling, that style of, slightly bigger guy, but not monster, not Big Show level big, they're not in the Braun Strowman Big Show level, but they're up there with the larger size heavyweight, wrestlers. So that style, part of the problem with this is, and it's very much like MMA. When you get two guys that are both proficient at the same thing, you tend to get a dud when it comes to MMA. And that's kind of how this is here too. Cross and Damian Priest cancel each other out in so many ways. And then you add on to that Damian Priest clearly does not have the physical strength that Cross does. No. I thought Cross actually looked a little out of shape for Cross, by the way. He was super chiseled not too long ago, and he looked a little round around the middle this time. And
the holidays,
maybe, and you could tell from his suntan and from his IG that he's been at the beach. He's been chilling.
Yeah, he did look a little ring rusty relative to
a little bit, but I felt like he shook it off honestly, and I thought he did a good job with it. And I don't imagine that with any type of regular scheduler program, it'll be any issue for him moving forward. And honestly, it's not even really a criticism other than to say, I did notice it. And I'm just being realistic in my assessment of it, that this was not the top form version of Karrion Kross.
And, but I think that's a problem here, but maybe not elsewhere, because to be honest, Damian Priest has had good matches, but he's a big lumbering guy. And we have this critique with some big guys where if the timing isn't right, they look slow and goofy. And he looks slow and goofy if the timing is right.
Especially when throwing his punches and stuff. It's like,
Yeah. And like that's not a critique on him. It's just it's part of the performance. You have to get the timing right because he's a heavyweight. So everything is kind of like a haymaker with a big windup.
And this is why I complained about them making this matchup at all before, because it made them seem a little bit loose. So here's what I think is the overall impact of this, though, and this is what I find regrettable. I want to see stuff like Cross versus Kyle O'Reilly, Seth Rollins, Phantasma, these guys that are athletic, built enough to look credible against Cross, but can offer something different. I think that gives Cross fun ways to work from underneath when he takes a beating or something happens to him where he's shaken up and then he's outmaneuvered. He can sell through the middle of the match, come back with bigger power moves at the end that, create drama and suspense. The problem, however, is if you look down the road for Cross or even Damian Priest, who are the guys that they're going to get? They're going to get the Baron Corbins. They're going to get the Bobby Lashleys. They're going to get the Bray Wyatts. They're going to get the other heavyweights. Not the super big Braun Strowmans and Big Show guys, but they're going to get those other heavyweights. And for Priest or Cross, if they can't show that they can work with those guys that are that size, and Priest showed that he really couldn't. That Razor's Edge where he tried to get Cross up, oh my God.
They tried to.
I think Kevin shit himself when he was up there.
And Kevin tried to save it or figure out how to, but the only way Kevin could have done anything about that to make it look better would have been to push himself over the top, and then he could have landed on his neck and been out forever. So there was no safe way for Cross to fix that. That's not a move you can fix. He's got to get the guy up and he's got to bring the guy down. And he could not do that because this backwards motion right here, he did not have it in the triceps and the lats to like get him up here. Yeah. He just didn't have the strength. I don't know if he was blown up, if he doesn't work out that way or whatever. It was an unfortunate thing, but it also exposed Damian Priest in a terrible, terrible way for a guy that size. Because now you're looking at a guy like Baron Corbin weighs 20 pounds more than Cross. Right. You couldn't even get him through a Baron Corbin match.
He's longer, isn't he? He's taller.
Yeah. And I'm saying these are the guys that they have to face. You're not always going to get these ring general guys. It's like it can't be Cross versus Gargano for the rest of his career. It can't be Damian Priest versus Kyle O'Reilly for the rest of his career. They have to learn how to go with the other guys their size. But Cross hasn't had to do a ton of that.
I still think Cross can. I think Damian Priest
Cross a powerbomb though. Oh.
Damian Priest is going up. He's going up to the Big Show. He's getting promoted, which is why he's putting over Cross, I'm sure. So I think it's more of a problem for him, or maybe he's going to go up and be like Elias number 3. But
I don't know.
I think in general, Cross can.
Oh, absolutely. You could see it. You can see it. You know that if he's going to fight Elias or if he's going to fight, any of those guys, even Bobby Lashley, like I could see Lashley and Cross working because he'll know how to work the psychology with those guys. Yeah. He didn't know how to do it with a guy that was greener and didn't have the strength behind it. I still think that Cross is the commodity, but it's also why I think that this matchup was unfortunate because it didn't give him an opportunity to show that.
Well, there's also maybe calling into question who produced the match, who wanted them to have a Haas match. And to be honest, Cross is a big, tough guy. He is not a Haas. Like, he's light on the feet, and
that's why the Muay Thai stuff.
Yeah, he's a heavyweight in shape boxer.
Yeah, and the finish.
He's not a big lad.
Don't get me wrong. I think Cross pulled it out of the fire. I think he finished great. He finished strong. He looked good. People remember the first and last thing they see the most. They're going to remember the Muay Thai from the beginning. They're going to remember Cross's big finish at the end.
What do you think about great? A forearm to the back of the head. The time's up elbow.
It was great. I liked it.
I don't want him to yell time's up.
Oh, I liked it. You got to gimmick it up. I know you. Here's the problem. I know you don't want him to be gimmicky, but it's WWE.
Yeah,
he's got to. And honestly, better that than whatever they come up with because I feel like that's him taking ownership of the fact that he has to be gimmicky before they do.
Yeah, that's smart.
Before they make him do the TikTok rocker DDT or something. Come on, because that's what's going to happen eventually.
Stands in the corner, just claps, tick tock.
Right, and then runs up, grabs a guy by the head, and does a rocker cradle. Good night.
The tick-tock clock just stands there and does like a kind of like guitar motion.
Oh,
he needs another rock and roll game. They need like a stable of Elias characters. Everyone has a rock and roll version of their gimmick. and y'all hang out backstage.
Now, here's where I will say that Cross showed
black metal.
Cross showed that he is a veteran. Look at this Doomsday Saito.
Mm-hmm.
Look at where he grabbed Damien. It was completely different because he took the control of the move completely away from Damien at that point. Cross was going to finish. He was going to finish strong. He was going to finish the way he was supposed to. Grabbed him at the waist. Did not let Damien have any control over the move. Protected him completely. Did it totally safe. He felt make sure he wasn't going to wiggle out of it or move wrong. But then if this is the first time I've seen Cross do a Doomsday Saito, I don't know, 400 times. This is the first time he's ever done it this way. And he did it very purposely because Damien had been sloppy throughout the match and he wasn't going to let the other guy blow the finish. So kudos to Cross for what I thought was a tremendous cover going into the end of this match.
Oh, he straight deadlifted him for that.
Yes. Which also shows that he wasn't the one blowing up. So those other missed spots, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Do you know, I love the worst thing I think about because Damien Priest is he reminds me a lot of like Vampiro WCW. But like in a weird no in a kind of build way, and it's the slight karate thing coming in.
Yeah,
right. But not in total, but there's a thing.
Vamp had more here.
Yeah.
And this is, this whole area of musculature is so much more important when you're lifting guys and doing this. This is what Damien seems to be missing. He's missing something in his upper body workout. Yeah. And his neck, maybe. And maybe he's had neck issues. There could be lots of legitimate reasons why. But if so, then they need to not expose him with moveset that does that. That's on the agents.
The worst thing he does is the leg sweep off the, I don't know what to call it, where he does it off the top turnbuckle. He does jumping leg, sweeping leg, but he actually just kind of flops off the.
It looks very.
Doesn't get any distance. He kind of just goes, and it looks really bad. It looks like
Damien.
He rolls basically. Yeah, Damien. Yeah, he rolls at them with his legs, like he spin kick off the top turnbuckle.
Well, what, a water wheel kick or something?
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it
looks really clumsy when he does it, and he's the wrong kind of build for it. If you're not going to do something like that crisp, don't do it.
Nothing he does is crisp.
All right, so I want to talk about something else that I know is going to get some heat here. Metal League versus Santos Escobar. Grand Metalik here.
See, this is counter programming. I think Rob Viper or Lucha Blogs is the one pointing out every time Phoenix has a big match on AEW, Metalik shows up in NXT.
Well, I will say I had some issues with this match, Meef.
It was really good. And my second gripe about it was that it was outstanding.
I feel like Escobar froze out Metalik on a couple of moves. And I feel like he froze him out on the Hurricane Rana from the apron for sure. I don't know if he just didn't like it. He froze him out hard. And
caught him.
I feel like Metalik gave him a little bit of a receipt towards the end. I feel like there was a little more going on underneath the surface of this match than was reported. I'm not saying it wasn't a good match. It was interesting. But
he also lost his mask repeatedly, which is weird.
Yeah, I didn't feel like this was flowing quite to the level that I read from a lot of other people on the internet, because I read a lot about this match before I saw it, and then I watched it, and I felt a little off by a lot of things that I saw in it.
I want to say something to me with more Lucha experience. Maybe you can comment on this, but to me, Metalik is he's one of the best luchadors in the world, and it's nearly a war crime what he's being relegated. But so like he's great, but he's not doing a lot of the WWE style in terms of quickness. So when you see him, he does the really awesome stuff, but it's still because he doesn't get the reps in. He doesn't probably get the producing and training, or he just doesn't care because he knows that it's not going to matter and they don't give a shit about him. It has a bit of that plotting, luchador style to it.
When he jumps up on it does amazing rope walk, but it's not at Fennec speed.
Right.
Correct.
It's very much plod, but like you're watching Mario. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And we were talking about
it's amazing. It's one of the greatest. Yeah.
There's that one spot that ended up with him doing moonsault or plancha on the outside as Escobar had got
all the time. Yeah,
and like the timing was absolutely perfect. He's one of the most skilled performers in the company, if not the world.
And they used to wrestle together in CMLL. They were a tag team back then, and they've had a match in some random little place.
Here's the thing. I believe that there is good reason why Metal League was put on this show. I don't really think it was counter programming to Phoenix. I feel like what is actually happening here, WWE in general is taking a very, very serious look at what to do with Lucha Libre. Don't think that they haven't noticed the trouble going on with AAA right now.
Aren't there rumors for another WWE Luchador show?
Yeah, there absolutely are. Because they have to. They're a publicly held company, and when you see weakness in your competition, even though they've been friendly with AAA over the years, you don't have a choice as a publicly held company but to examine what the options are there. It's a huge market share, and it's a huge market share that likes wrestling. They have some of the top luchadors in the world in WWE. They don't necessarily know what to do with them. I also think they know that they don't necessarily know what to do with them, and also they don't care that they don't know what to do with them because it's not a portion of their product that is hurting them or helping them. It's just a portion of their product that.
But if it becomes a portion of the product that can help them, the better it is.
Correct. So, and they will put time and effort into it, and they will get some things right with that. So don't think that this match was by accident. Don't think that Lucha House Party getting wins recently is by accident. These things are not by accident. I think they're running some things up the flagpole to see what they've got and examine it while they know that there's weakness to this AAA thing. And who knows? They might even be looking at trying to buy that IP.
Yeah. See, I'm not 1,000% sure. Oh my God, we get King Cuerno in WWE. Amazing.
Wouldn't happen.
No, just buy the IP. Justin, just let me have my moment, okay? Let me just have.
They have their version of Phantasma. They won't be changing. And when they do, it'll be to make him like the wedding singer or something.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah,
Marco was saying to me about how WWE had basically gone onto free television in Mexico. Yeah, and like the Mexico's really, really panicking about it because like it was on TV, but it was like usually like we have here Sky Sports, so and now it's on BT, which you have to subscribe to. Yeah, you have to subscribe to it and pay for it. But now I think it's actually on like I won't say daytime, but normal time for like Central and South America kind of television programming. So I think obviously the kids have started to grow up in the last generation kind of more with WWE as well, which is obviously you can watch through the crowds dwindling at certain places and the interest waning a little bit locally. That's been going on there. I'm sure Rob Viper and Lucha Blog will be able to tell you that more with detail, but that's something that's obviously been going on. And like I said, WWE's been talking about this WWE Mexico for years, but also especially from when the first Cruiserweight Classic was happening.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be one of the possible things coming out of it.
Isn't there an NXT branch in Mexico now?
But yeah, so here's the thing. Think about NXT UK as a bit of a model. It allowed them to come in at a time when promotions in England needed the money. They needed the exposure, and the product was hot. Yeah. So if you're looking at those kind of things, and then what it allowed WWE to do is they have their own NXT UK brand. They don't really care about it all that much, but it's a great farm system for them. It keeps some of the people happy and employed over there. It doesn't cost them any money. It only makes them more. And if they can set up something like that with Lucha Libre, it may not be NXT, Latin America or whatever. It might be something different or a different iteration, or maybe it gets sucked into one of the current forms. But if they can acquire the IP to AAA, they could do something huge with it. And maybe they will. We don't know, but I can tell you this, as they come out of the pandemic, WWE's strategy to get through downtimes with a huge upswing is to make a big move, to either sign with Fox for a SmackDown, or to make Raw another hour longer, or to, bring back. Yeah, but that was one of the things they did back in the day. That was one of their big moves.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind that the network people at USA have directly asked WWE, and mostly publicly, to create a more adult program now out of Raw again, which is an issue for WWE because the first time they did it, when it was the Attitude Era, WWE was not a public company yet. They are a public company with shareholders, and they have to abide by the shareholders. So now WWE has 2 or 3 bosses. You think of them as the parent company, and Vince can do whatever he wants, but Vince doesn't do whatever he wants because he's billionaire Vince now and wants to stay billionaire Vince, and he wants to pass the whole thing down to his family.
He's a production company.
Well, he's got to listen to the stockholders at the stockholders meeting. Now he can convince them and sway them a lot and say, I know what's best for the company, and most likely they're going to listen. But he also has to deal with USA and Fox, okay, who are paying huge carriage rights deals for the programs Raw and SmackDown. And if USA is coming to him and saying that it wants a more adult version of WWE, and that can mean a lot of things. It doesn't just mean going straight to the gutter. It doesn't mean, the kind of antics that they pulled in the Attitude Era.
It's 24/7.
It's more like more violent, more adult storylines, more, aggressive program.
USA came up with the 24/7 belt, brought that back.
Yeah, I mean, look, USA has its hands on the Raw product, and the Raw product has been fledgling, I would say, at this point. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see some things happen. But keep in mind, it's not getting shortened. It's still a 3-hour show. And that being the case, they have to look at things like Raw Underground, which they couldn't really continue because of COVID. They have to look at things like, is AAA right for the poaching? Or even without poaching it, should we just be making our own Lucha Libre, since AAA is kind of failing right now and CMLL is not doing much and Mexico's a hot mess, but there's all these great performers. They have to be looking at those things because they have 3 hours to fill and their boss isn't happy with what it is right now. So,
oh my God, Justin, just think about Nino Hamburguesa versus Otis.
Yeah, it would never happen. Nino Hamburguesa will not get picked up by WWE. I can tell you that right now.
Hamburguesa,
no, will. They picked up Super Porky.
Hamburguesa versus Seth Rollins, best of 3.
Whatever. How about
Hamburguesa would win?
Imagining the real things, which would be Psycho Clown versus Triple H, Saudi Arabia for $20 million each for the Intercontinental title.
I don't mind that because he would jump around too much and get overheated and possibly pass out.
Don't kid yourself. What they're going to look at when they look at things like AAA is how many.
No, Hamburguesa. I'm going to put my money in now. You'll see. Nino Hamburguesa will be the WWE champion by the end of this decade.
And a TLC match. These are the things that they will be looking at when they win and if they acquire AAA. They will not be looking at any of the cool things.
Vince is going to love Hamburguesa. He's going to be like, look at that lad.
They just want Pagano. They just want to get Pagano.
Big Mammy versus Nia Jax.
Yeah, you're going to get Pagano versus Roman Rollins.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry, Seth Reigns. Sorry,
we're getting into a whole nother subject of like you have the roster that WWE has. They own pretty much anyone that you ever marked out to on a wrestling videotape, and the program they have for their champ at this next pay-per-view is it gets a retired agent. They don't have an active wrestler that they could bring up. I mean, I guess they're just doing squash matches, and that's part of the Roman.
Want to make Pierce the next McMahon, or whatever that means. I don't know how they haven't really done a great job with it. They put him
John
on
Laurinaitis.
They put him on more than that. They put him on camera a lot during fourth quarter last year.
Yeah,
I didn't watch any of it. So.
A lot. They're clearly going somewhere with it. This is a Vince thing. I guarantee it. He has a very set idea. Pierce did not come up with this himself. He's not putting himself over with this and probably doesn't want to do it. This is 100% a Vince thing. They're going somewhere with this. Don't doubt it. So we'll see where that somewhere is. Anyway, I got to talk a little bit about AEW real quick. New Year's Smash. You were talking a little bit before about the entrances.
Yeah.
The Acclaimed is so over. And it's funny because here's the thing. The Acclaimed would probably be getting over more and better in WWE. Their gimmick and the heat that they're getting, and I mean that in a good form of heat, that they're getting right now is something that WWE knows how to do, with mid-level talent and get them over for sometimes a short while, like Enzo and that kind of thing. Yeah. Like they would be putting them over. So I don't think AEW realizes how over the Acclaimed is right now.
Yeah, but also they have skyrocketed from let's put them together on Dark, and then Caster started rapping, and they were doing like a SCU match, which is supposed to be big for them at the time. Yeah. But then they get one match with the Bucks on Dynamite, and it's like these guys belong here every week.
Right. And here's the thing. WWE knows how to deal with stuff like this. These guys would be the top of the second hour every week for 9 weeks straight. They would be getting huge segments. They would be getting 10 minutes of mic time. It wouldn't even matter who they wrestled. They would be selling shirts out the wazoo. WWE would get these guys over so hard. I hope AEW realizes that and does something with them quickly. Also, I love the SCU gimmick and the whole, if once we lose together as a team again, we're breaking up. Don't forget there's a third member of SCU out there looming, so it's a bit negligible, though AEW so far has been the company to say we stick to our stipulations. Kind of. We'll see how that works out. But I'm also going to say this. This was the first time there was an 8-man tag match that opened up AEW that I didn't think was just absolute hot garbage. I actually liked this. This was well done. This was exciting. If they want to make this part of the AEW brand, these big 8-man things, you have to have the right referee in there. Rick Knox is the only one that knows how to deal with some of this kind of stuff. And you have to plan them out well, and you need to have the right teams in there. The only team that looked a little lost at all was the Acclaimed, and it was very brief. I think they held up very well with a lot more experience around them, and it paid off. I completely liked this. And this is the first time I've said that about an 8-man tag in AEW ever.
I mean, as a fan of the Bucks style and as a fan of New Japan,
8-man tags.
I love borrowing from the whole, like, let's do mostly big tag matches and have the singles be specials. And so I like how AEW has a lot of tag matches like that. And I love opening with a huge hot match. And, some of them have not been the greatest.
But most of them have not been the greatest is the problem. They don't know.
But they've been hot. They've been hot garbage, but they've been hot.
I think there's always been something in them that has worked. Maybe not everything, and maybe one of the ones where they're also wrestling outside. So some of the shows, it's too hot, and now the shows are too cold, which is why they're going to go to Miami for a month.
Which is, I think, a mistake, but whatever. Other things I thought were interesting. I like the Chucky T will be Miro's young boy angle. I loved Miro at the end of it, just like, wow, you are just so stupid. Why would you agree to? You're an idiot. Like, just him walking away from the whole thing was classic to me.
Yeah, I love someone thought that Miro's outfit was a shout out to Conan on his birthday too, which is kind of cool.
God, but Miro talking about his drip, like this is the stuff. This is the Rusev stuff that was on Twitter that a lot of fans didn't get to experience. Like the guy is really smart and really funny. But he's funniest when he downplays it. When he tries to yuck it up or do it the Vince way and be over the top with it, it's not funny. It's the subtle stuff. When he comes out and he's like, I know you like my drip. This is the best drip you've ever seen. And that's it. That's all he says about it. That is funny stuff. Yeah. Now, when Vince is playing it up and putting him in a duck costume or whatever the hell he's, it's not as funny. It's stupid. Anyway, that was interesting.
Also, that's the only response you can have to a Chucky T promo.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're promoing with them. Like, why are you so dumb? And I love him, but
it's perfect. And it helps Chuck's character too, because Chuck's character hasn't been over since those first pay-per-views before they were a TV show. Chuck has never gotten over on Dynamite, but was over huge at those early AEW pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Huge.
And he's like, I'll agree to whatever gets this promo over with. I don't want to talk.
And Orange Cassidy doing the exact right thing. Just stand there and realize that you're more over than everyone in the room, even Miro. Anyway, Wardlow versus Hagar, absolutely the right thing to do with those guys, the right thing to do with this period of that whole faction, the correct finish. Put Wardlow over the exact right way. Kudos to Hagar for playing it perfectly. The backstage bit afterwards. This is some of the best writing conceptually overall out of AEW in a long time for a mid to low level program. And there's a reason for it because it came from who I've already stated on this show is the best writer at AEW, Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Now there's some issues with Jericho and his podcast.
I'm just talking about him purely as a writer at AEW.
Writing for Jake Hager, that's a bit dangerous.
One of my other favorite writers in the world for wrestling has let me down politically this week as well. But we won't go there.
I don't know about we know who he votes for, and he's also a Florida guy, and that's a whole nother thing.
We love you, DJ. That's what we're saying.
I think it was just like, hey man, like understand your power with your podcast, like have some judgment and like maybe not spread QAnon lies. But aside from that, he is generally a great guy. He's very thoughtful.
He's a flat earther.
Very nice. No, I think he's willing to talk about it. but also, but he's a great guy.
But he does do generous things, doesn't he? He does give like £5,000. He gave some money to Climb Rock, didn't he? Kev?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, for Kev. Kev's did a fundraiser recently, and then Jericho gave him some money.
That's so great. He's always pitching into wrestler charities and taking care of the boys. And he created this whole stable, and he's making it the center of AEW, or he's making it entertaining where they get multiple segments. Everyone gets multiple segments, and everyone is going over. Jericho, by the way,
he's doing the right thing with his corner of the AEW universe.
He doesn't even look like he should be the coolest guy. He has every right to be the guy who's the most over in this group. And he's like the big, fat, bloated, half drunk uncle walking around. And I'm sure he's like red faced and sweating in all the segments and whatever on purpose because he's putting everyone else over.
Dude, just the fact that he would even bring MJF into his corner of AEW, a guy who really does represent a younger version of him, and it steps on his gimmick. The fact that he is big enough to see the potential in him and not do what was done to him in WCW to MJF shows something specific. Again, yes, I think Jericho is a hot piece of shit when it comes to certain other ideologies and things that he puts out into the world. This is one of the problems with wrestling, man. If you're a wrestling fan, it's so hard to be a wrestling fan sometimes because so many wrestlers are carny, idiot pieces of crap. But at the same time, they do some of the things that you find to be the most entertaining things. It's hard. But at the same time, I try
for only $10 a month, we'll tell you who are pieces of shit. So if you join our OnlyFans.
I will just say this. It's really simple. It's the fact that when I look at what was Spacey's show on Netflix called House of Cards. It's House of Cards. I'm not going to necessarily go back and watch it again now and say great things about Kevin Spacey, but I'm never going to tell you that Spacey in House of Cards wasn't a brilliant performance and that I didn't love every second of the show. Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to continue to support the guy's career further, but I can't honestly tell you that I'm not thoroughly entertained by it. I can't honestly tell you I approve of and agree with half of the things that Jericho does in his personal day-to-day life, but I can tell you I love him as the best writer for AEW, and he's putting on the best portions of that show for just solid right. Now, he might not have the biggest highs like the Kenny Omega stuff and this, that, and the other thing, but he doesn't have the lowest lows either. He has the most solid segments on that show. For him and his whole crew.
He's great. I mean, House of Cards, I think, is a little rough because of an analogy. Because
I know one we can do. Was John Wayne Gacy a good entertainer?
The point is it.
I'm just saying, was he a good clown? We need to know. Listen, if he was a good clown.
Hitler was a good painter. Right.
Oh
he
my
just
God.
had a couple bad reviews, and it shifted his career in a way that
Joseph
changed.
Fritzl was a fantastic handyman. Built an entire dungeon in his basement.
You know who wasn't a
H.H.
handyman?
Holmes built a murder hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, ingenious.
Where are you
Say
going
about-
with this?
say about guys who built hotels. House of Cards, though, like we all knew about Kevin Spacey I knew about Kevin Spacey for at least 20 years, if not more.
I don't think I did, but I'm completely oblivious. I'm the guy that Neil Patrick Harris hit on, and I had no clue that he was gay.
Oh, you should have fucked him.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was an option. I'm oblivious to these kind of things, man. I just take people at what they are on the surface, and I don't really judge them all that much when it comes to certain things. But then I also don't condone racism and violence and certain other things. I mean, you guys hear me say it, even when you guys are like, "Yeah, fuck that guy. I wish he was dead." I'm like, "Yeah, don't do that. I don't." That's just not me. I'm just not a very judgmental person in that way. But at the same time, I think that Jericho says really dumb stuff. He does really dumb stuff, and then he writes really great TV. So I'm totally conflicted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a Florida Carney element of him that is just going to live forever. But he is super great to everyone around him, I think. And when he's on commentary, he's the one in the booth that's getting everyone and everything over, you know, and he's just great. But also something that I see constantly, and I'm a broken record about it, but it's one thing when he's the champ.
Never.
And it's one thing when he's the champ and Inner Circle is in the main event and they're the star of the show, and so they're getting their segments, and that's why they're. No, I'm not going to say anything bad right now. Why are you going off cam? Okay, so he's off cam again. Maybe he's.
Yeah, he's playing with something.
Is he? Do you think?
I'm just waiting to hear what you have to say. I just want to know if I need plausible deniability. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that it's one thing to be entertaining when you have segments when you're winning, and they essentially have nothing to do now. They're not in programs with anyone.
They have no program at all.
And so what they did was write their own program with themselves, self-contained story,
but also their own program that had 3 months of build-up. Very slight, subtle, crafty build-up.
It's great. And MJF, to your point earlier, MJF is cutting off Jericho, and Jericho isn't neutering him. You know,
correct. It's amazing.
And that's going to be a long build to something in the end. But
and it'll be a build to Jericho putting MJF over somehow, and he already has put him over, which is great.
Or it'll be a build to putting himself back over, which will also be fine. Yeah. He's got another 1 or 2 big runs left in him that I think that we'll get in the next few years.
I will say I think Sammy is a huge work in progress, and they're giving him a lot of promo time in Dark.
His promo on Dark was amazing. There was a few things on Dark that are amazing. I'll talk about it in just a sec. All right, let me get through a little bit more of this because I don't want to take too much time on AEW because I do still want to talk about Lucha Underground briefly. But you know, there was a weigh-in, Sting, blah, 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 blah. A couple of guys with face paint staring at each other.
Okay, I love Sting. Okay, and the Sting Darby thing, I think, had a couple weeks where it was stalled, but I think we're getting into the groove of what it's going to be. And I think,
wow, great. I liked Darby. Now I could care less.
I think that Darby and Sting is a great program, and I think it's super awesome that Sting is he's helping Darby out. You know, it's not like first of all,
if it ends in any way with Sting having that television title 6 months from now, I swear to God, I will probably
I don't think he can touch the ring.
I agree. If Sting is going over Darby at all, I think that's bad, and we could talk about it. I don't think that's what he's there for. I also think I don't either,
but I won't be surprised if it ends up there.
It just absolutely has to be noted as an asterisk in this conversation that your opinion of Sting is objectively wrong.
Yeah.
Don't care.
The thing is, we've had Surfer Sting.
History
then he became Crow Sting. You've had Skater Darby. Now he's going to be.
Here's my only opinion of Sting.
And then Darby's going to
I think he sucks the air out of the room, and I don't personally find him entertaining. That's my entire opinion. Of money. Yeah, absolutely. I just don't find him entertaining.
But you're wrong because you do find him entertaining.
I don't. I'm not entertained by it. That whole segment I found to be boring. I thought Taz was entertaining for 2.5 seconds of it, and then the rest of the segment I was just like, eh.
So Taz brought it down. That's what you're saying.
It was saying that Taz was entertaining, but he knew Sting was coming out, so it couldn't go anywhere for him.
It was Hook that's bringing the segment down. You know what I love? I love how Cody, by the way, speaking of subtle storytelling and other really great entertaining stuff,
Let's go off into a tangent.
Cody is a big Sting mark too, you know? And Sting shut him down and called him kid a couple weeks ago. And Cody is incorporating Sting moves again into his repertoire, including like a splash and a scorpion deathlock that nearly rivals The Rock's.
Yeah.
Oh, God, let's not talk about that.
Oh, but let's talk about Snoop Dogg's splash, because look, that was good television. That was not good wrestling. But
no,
kudos.
It's television.
Like, look, if you're gonna bring Snoop in, and Snoop says, "Hey, I want to try something," absolutely let him, and let him do a fake pin cover, and the whole thing was just like, look, that's entertaining. They're promoting this other
Snoop now as well.
Big show. Like he's older than me, I think, or my age. He's old.
Yeah, Justin, imagine your niece waking up one day and saying, "Justin, I want to jump off the top rope."
Yeah. Sheeta Abaddon, why was that done so soon? That was a mistake. Yeah. Oh my God. Way to take something that could have been something good with some buildup and just burn it. I mean, like, it wasn't a bad match. It literally just meant nothing. And they just burned the whole Abaddon character. I don't think they got that character over more. I thought the match was exactly what the match was supposed to be, except it was exactly what it was supposed to be 2 months from now.
Yeah,
what the hell was that? That blew my mind.
Kenny's been busy wrestling.
I feel like their promos leading up to it just were not hitting.
Dude, and with Mel, I got it. Mel was not supposed to win. Mel was not supposed to even necessarily be a credible challenge. Mel was a placeholder, but her story and her build into it really kind of ignited all this other stuff with Deeb and the women's division and everything below Sheeta. And it totally helped. It's helping Britt Baker. It made sense. But them to do this with Abaddon, it doesn't lead anywhere. And I thought they had some good heat going with the Abaddon thing. And I think with the smaller crowds, it's way easier to get a character that's not sexy over like Abaddon. And if they had strung that out for a month or two, like, now's the time to do that. But Jesus Christ, they just burned right through it. They did all of Abaddon's bits that she's been doing everywhere else in one match and one lead up for 2 weeks. And that's it. They burned the whole thing to the ground. It was absolutely terrible, terrible booking. I don't know why they did it.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes, I guess. I mean, that's the only thing we can do.
All right, and so that was it for the whole show. That was
wait. No, Tony Khan.
That was the match of the year.
Tony Khan and the other Tony had another commercial on Impact, which are some of my favorite parts of wrestling.
Yeah, they're actually really good. Like Tony Khan, I don't know why he doesn't put himself on camera a little bit more. Maybe because he doesn't have writers telling them that he should. And I know he's not a guy that's trying to get himself over, but he's actually, this character version of him is actually really good. It's really well done. It's totally different from the McMahons and other people that you've seen or Cyrus or whatever. It's different than all these guys. It's fun. Yeah, so anyway, Ray Phoenix of the Lucha Bros versus Triple A Mega Champion Kenny Omega.
You've got to introduce Ray Phoenix properly.
Go ahead. How do you want
current greatest wrestler at the moment in time? He's the number one wrestler in the world right now.
Wow. I don't
100%. 100%. I would argue, if anybody even didn't put him in the top 3, I'd argue. If you said not even the top 5, I would fist fight you.
I don't know if I would disagree with it, but I also think that to be considered,
I'm not saying that AEW put the kind of program that he's been in and stuff like that, but actually as a talent,
it's also like football. It's also like football. You could go out there and be the guy to put up the best stats for the whole year and be the guy that everyone knows is the best player, but unless you face off against one of those other teams and one of those other people, or enough of those other teams, and have those great moments where you pull it out of the fire, like I feel like you are correct that Phoenix very well may be the best wrestler in wrestling right now, but I don't know if he's getting enough opportunities like this one
no, he's not.
to prove it.
No,
however, This, however, was exactly one of those moments where I think he proved it. I think Omega also proved why he is also one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. I think that everything that Kenny is doing with this story, with his matches right now, with, crossing over promotions, it's all exactly right. Though I'm still offended that he's not coming out with the AAA belt and claiming to be the AEW AAA mega champion of the world, the most decorated wrestler in professional wrestling.
And kind of waving it in Phoenix's face and he's going to be for it.
Yeah. I mean, it was an afterthought on commentary. It's like, you've got this built-in thing here, and it's not even about giving the other company the rub. It's about the fact that it would genuinely add to the storyline, especially if Rey Fenix, the guy who he beat for that title, is talked about that way, and it's shoved in his face. Even if they don't even have the belt there, commentary at least should be rubbing it in Phoenix's face, making the audience.
Or Kenny doing it in between them, during the match.
Kenny should be the one doing it, but even if he's not, because Kenny isn't the greatest when it comes to storyline stuff. But look, it should be that way. I just feel like they missed that opportunity. But I will say that I don't even have a lot to say about this match. You are a wrestling fan. You're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. There is absolutely no reason, if you have not seen this, for you to not turn this off, even though I would rather you listen to the end of this. Turn this off and go watch it right now. Listen, we got to take another quick break. We're going to come back and talk about an episode of Lucha Underground that we were all at, and we find there's some interesting stuff in it that we will hit and talk to you about in this week's Lucha Underground Rewind, so come right back.
If you're listening to this and you haven't visited luchacentral.com, it's time to do it. LuchaCentral.com is the online home for Lucha Libre, where you can get all of the top news in English and in Spanish. Find the best curated video content and original content not seen anywhere else. Find when Lucha Libre events would be happening in your area. Find photo galleries from top photographers covering Lucha Libre around the world. From weekly polls to annual awards. Seen and read by top executives in all of the major Lucha Libre promotions across the globe. And on top of that, it's free. LuchaCentral.com, your centralized place for all things Lucha Libre.
Hey guys, so this week for the Wall of Shame, I have to put myself on it because I saw this post from Mick Foley where he was adding Vince McMahon, and he's just like, Vince, can we finally take this guy out of our Hall of Fame? And I'm just like, yeah, Mick's right. I am so down with this. Let's get Hulk Hogan out of the Hall of Fame. I am so oblivious. I completely thought he was talking about Hulk Hogan. I'm not even kidding. I really did.
But Hulk Hogan was he opened Raw last week trying to sell an H phone.
That's why I thought that Mick clearly was talking about Hogan. I'm not even joking. I'm not joking at all. I seriously thought Mick Foley was talking about taking Hulk Hogan and adding Vince McMahon to do it. I was like, Mick's got balls. That's the best. I had no clue he was talking about Trump. I'm so oblivious. And then somebody pointed it out to me, and I was like, I'm so stupid. I am the stupidest wrestling fan of all time. I did not get the most obvious
Washington's
thing.
currently on fire, Justin.
We'd be happy with either one.
So that being said, let's just move right into this week's Lucha Underground Rewind, Season 1, Episode 33. We are winding down. There's some big stuff in this episode. I don't need to go through this episode blow by blow. This one's called Death versus the Dragon. We start off with the Sexy Star Superfly rematch. There's an interview with Superfly and Vampiro.
Yep.
This is really, it's bizarre. I don't have any idea why they were giving Superfly back his heat right here. It felt like they were doing it so that Vamp could, kind of bolster himself up to get back into the ring off of Superfly, but then they didn't even really go that direction. So it all became kind of pointless in letting Superfly get his heat back here. He wasn't a character they were planning on using. He wasn't IP that they were interested in. Everything was surprisingly working for them in the Sexy Star storyline, and it hurt her storyline more than anything. And then the match itself was just bizarre because it was literally Superfly wrestling himself for about 5 minutes. I mean, he's just throwing her on the ground and then doing run back and forth and a dive and like twisting her up in a knot and then rolling himself over. I mean, he was literally wrestling himself. It was so bizarre.
remember.
Which I think you have to do against Sexy Star.
Yeah, but
remember part of Conan's interview with us when he was backstage at the monitors, and someone was like, why isn't this match good? I thought Sexy Star was good. And I thought of that when Sexy Star was on their turnbuckle and did a dive onto Superfly and was nearly short by 4 feet.
Yeah. But this is another thing with her height too that she never corrected for, and I've talked about this a lot of times. One of her biggest weaknesses in the ring is not necessarily her moveset, but in the fact that she comes up a half a step or a full step short when she's running the ropes and when she's doing certain moves. And it was very evident. There was a couple of missed ones in this. There's a couple where Superfly had to step into it. And again, it wasn't horrible. And at the time, Sexy Star was over. I didn't have a big problem with Sexy Star's character at the time. I thought that they had made some good corrections in her storyline and things were going well, but that also made this make no sense. She got in almost nothing in this match. She gave the audience nothing really to root for. The Vampiro part of the whole storyline didn't really play out, and there was no need for Superfly to get back his heat. They're not making him into some big villain or something that's going to be credible for the pro.
They never brought him back after this, did they?
It was weird. I don't know if they were doing it on purpose or if they weren't paying attention to it. Like, it felt like the promo was a bit of a retcon. Like, oh, we gotta like let people know what the deal is with Superfly. And that's
fine if they're going to do something with it, but we're right around the corner from Ultima Lucha, and they didn't do anything with this storyline.
But then also, but I think that sort of was like, oh wait, we haven't exactly explained why this grudge match is a grudge match and it's happening. But also,
it got more explanation than their original Apuestas match for a mask in the middle of an episode.
So, but no, it felt like there wasn't that. So then they had to do the awesome sit downs with Vamp. I think are awesome. But there was a moment when, just to me, the takeaway was Superfly was telling Vampiro, like, "Hey man, you came in, you saved her. It's your fault you're the one who kept her from getting her arm broken, and I got my arm broken. And blah blah blah. Don't interfere in this match."
Look,
you were stepping up to Vampiro, and what stood out to me was that's 2 segments. We'll get to it. 2 segments in a row where someone gets in Vampiro's face, and I feel that's too many.
But at the same time, that was the effective part of it. The whole the real success of this was the red herring with Vampiro and bringing him back to the ring, and that's really what they were going for, and that kind of works here. That's serviceable. We're trying to make Vampiro back into a credible tough guy character, and they did have to put a little bit of something on that because, you know, any Lucha Libre fan knew at the time that Vampiro was not in the best shape and did not expect to see him wrestle, even though there had been lots of rumors and talk about it, and that if he was going to wrestle, it wasn't going to be good, and that he shouldn't do it. The same as Conan, same kind of talk was going around about Conan of, man, it'd be great to see him in the ring, but one rolling thunder and his hip is probably going to fly out of his body. So let's not see it. But it was the same kind of talk about Vamp at the time. Anyway, let's move on. Pentagon Jr.
No, hold on.
What? Drago nunchucks on the roof?
Yeah.
Okay. Drago does nunchucks on the roof. It's a great shot. Skip chasing. You're my hero. That's all I got to say about it. All right. So listen. Here's the thing that I want everyone who goes back and does watch this episode, season 1, episode 33. This is a great promo. I don't care if you speak Spanish or not. Pentagon knows how to cut a promo. Given he only knows how to cut a promo in Spanish. His English promos are not great yet. And I don't know that he's spent time working on it as much as Phoenix, but he sounds tough. He's got the right gravel in his voice. He's got the right cadence in what he's saying. He's saying all of the right things. The way that he's saying them are great. He doesn't want just the fact that basically he comes out and says, I don't want some stupid medallion. I want my violent moment back. You took away what really matters to me. I don't care what the storyline is right now. This is like a real wrestling program. He's basically sounds like, even if it's scripted, that he's going into business for himself. Like, I don't care what the stupid writers came up with. I don't care what the freaking storyline is. I wanted to break somebody's arm, and you guys took that away from me. So F you. I've got zero fear. I'm not afraid of whatever's coming. I want to break somebody's arm. Let's go. And that was a great promo. All the right heat.
Vampiro's acting, I thought, was tremendous in this, and this is
better than normal.
And this is where it comes across on TV, the Vampiro and the Conan Pops of season 1, which were bigger than anyone else combined.
And the Cero Miedo chants were deafening at this point. We were in this crowd. I was there for this moment. And this was, being a very, very big Vampiro fan, and Drago, this was a great episode to me, and to have been there for it was awesome, because this was kind of the moment where Pentagon had been getting over, but this was what was going to make him transcend. And this is what was making guys like Casey say, no, he should be the champion. And not as a joke, not as this is my favorite mid-card guy, I wish he was champion kind of thing, of like, no, this guy is the top of the company. This is one of those moments that made him that. And the fact that he cut a hot promo where even the non-Spanish speaking people in the crowd understood most of it, and it totally got over. And then Vamp's reaction put it over even more. So kudos to them. The 4-way match for a medallion still happens. You've got Aerostar, Marty the Moth, Mac, and Cage for a medallion. I feel like this match specifically, and I was here for this as well, I thought the Marty the Moth thing was a tremendous joke. I couldn't understand it. I was like, why are they putting this guy over? He was some has-been from Tough. What is this? Why? 100%, no doubt in my mind, after being there live for this match, then watching it on TV and seeing it, Marty the Moth became instantly one of my favorites in Lucha Underground. He was the first character using comedy in ring. Keep in mind, Famous B hadn't done it yet. No one else had done it. This was the first time there was anything comedic in ring in a match in Lucha Underground, period.
And he was doing lucha moves.
And he's a big boy. And he looked sweaty and out of shape. And he wasn't.
Then he yelled Aztec Pride.
Oh, my God. He was this whole match to me. And I love Aerostar. And everything Aerostar did was great. Yeah. Marty's dive. Wow, did he almost overshoot the mark? He was so excited to do a dive and be a luchador that he almost planted chin first on his dive. But kudos to him, because that was fun stuff. Cage also doing the curls with Aerostar played so much better, because Marty had already done some funny spots that you didn't just feel like it was a Cage showing off spot. You felt that spot felt more entertaining because of what Marty had already brought to the match. Cage
set the mood.
Cage is curling Aerostar becomes funny and not just some cocky jerk thing that he would normally do. And it actually helped Cage get over. And then Willie Mack, super stiff, super fast, looked lighter on his feet than Aerostar.
Yeah. Dude, how about the exploder on the apron, then the frog splash?
Absolutely.
Onto the floor, right?
Onto the floor, yes.
Amazing. And then they cut. And
don't forget his pop-up forearm. The pop-up forearm that Mac did. Amazing.
Yeah. Yes, but like this sequence though, he does the apron exploder, then does the big frog splash right onto the mat outside, and then you cut to a wide shot and you just see Marty like at the turnbuckle, like he was ready for his next spot, and he's just frozen looking at Mac like, what the hell?
I don't think the exploder was the original move that was planned. It felt like there was a little bit of a switch up there, and then Mac kind of called that one in, and that's where they went with it, and it worked out great. But I don't know. This to me, and having been there, and this was one of the, I think this was the second time I had been to Lucha Underground. This was Lucha Underground, not Lucha Libre. This wasn't the great, Phoenix, Drago, Aerostar kind of stuff that we had seen early in the season that I loved. That is also indicative of what Lucha Underground is. But this was what the future of Lucha Underground was going to be, where you have a great luchador like Aerostar. Then you've got great indie talents like Cage and Mac, who are veterans to a certain extent. I mean, Cage had been in a lot of battles those 2 years leading up to Lucha Underground, where he was getting so much experience, more so than Marty. And then you've got an up-and-coming talent like Marty, who had been overlooked since his WWE thing or whatever, and, really showing out and proving that he belonged to be in that locker room. And that became kind of the signature of the best stuff of Lucha Underground that was in season 2 and 3. And I honestly think that this match right here is where it started. They had tried to do some of these before, but there was always Hernandez in there or somebody else, and they weren't bad, but they didn't give you the feeling that this match did of, we can do this bedlam, we can still make it look crisp and clean, we can add lucha libre into it, we can have fun and funny bits, we can do dives, we can do all of it and wrap it up into a match and get 4 talent over where it doesn't even matter who won at the end. And that they pulled it off perfectly. All right, Byron, I know what you want to talk about.
Well, that Aerostar stiffed Marty with a West Coast pop.
Yes. No, that's not what you want to talk about. You want to talk about this vignette.
I'm not.
Do you want to describe this vignette? Can you describe this vignette in a way that will not get us thrown off of the air?
Yeah. So you have the unlikely trio friends, Angelico. By the way, Angelico always would get third billing because he always would keep getting hurt and stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, retrospectively, he's first billing. When we talk about this team, you have Angelico, Son of Havoc, and Ivelisse working out. As for some reason, Son of Havoc and Ivelisse are doing boxing training, and they start bickering.
Why are you putting Ivelisse at the bottom, Byron?
Cover up.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, and then they're yelling at each other and stuff. It's all cool. Also, like Ivelisse.
When he said cover up, I know you guys were thinking he was talking about boxing, but it's got to be because of the fupa tattoo, right? That's what he was telling her to cover up, right? Let's be honest. I'm sorry. Was that mean? And Evie's having a great week. Her and Diamante on Dark this week. I will give it up. I think they finally are clicking. I thought that they were really, really good this week. And I am very, very happy, as much as we have kind of given Ivelisse shit. I am very, very happy that I feel like Ivelisse is finding her stride in AEW and that their tag team is really, really good. Now, moving back to Son of Havoc telling her to cover up that awful tattoo.
Oh no, I'm a big fan of Ivelisse's. You know, we have to be critical of stuff that needs to be pointed out. But I'm a big fan of hers, and I'm also glad. And so they're bickering. I was going to point out it's kind of funny that she's training in full makeup, but I guess if there's a TV show about your training or whatever, but then Sexy Katrina strolls in with the Eric Van Wagenen shot. I want to name it the Eric Van Wagenen shot, where it's a dolly track in and a boom up.
Out.
So you're going ankle to like mid waist. Guess what's about mid waist on the backside of Katrina?
The stone?
Yeah.
What, Byron?
Mil Muertes, son.
So you're just kind of, she's walking up, and how I would typically get someone's entrance in a tracking shot.
Whoa!
Like I would
get their entrance in a tracking shot.
Yeah, so I would do generically over the shoulder as they walk in. You see the back of their head. You get an idea of who they are and what they're looking at. Storytelling, blah blah blah. However, when you have someone with certain
assets,
talents,
you
basically, and it's not the last time you'll see it in the show. You have a tracking shot, which is basically like this ass is walking into the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shot. That's the story it tells. She walks in. She talks shit to all of them. Out of the 3 of them, she gets in Ivelisse's face, and Ivelisse is almost does the 30 degrees.
Well, so here's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Storyline wise, I think this was effective because we're supposed to believe that Katrina can even entrance a woman.
No, it was tremendous, but it was also like it was writing a line of sexual, but also
it was super duper sexual in the fact that like you literally saw the hairs on Evie's arm stand up. Like I don't know that Evie was entirely acting. I think she got into the moment. I think Carly did a great job of using her wiles, and also I don't find this to be as skeevy as when a lot of wrestling does this, because I feel like when Vince tries to do stuff like this, he's forcing his performers to do it. Right. He's telling them that it's something. You guys, you have to understand, and if you've met Carly or you've talked to any of the writers or any of the other performers, you would know that she was responsible for a lot of this. She wanted the character to be on the verge of that without being slutty. Her whole point was to push it as super sultry, to push that something about her sexuality was part of the power of the character without overly using it as a storyline facet. And it's just part of her power.
Like a Dracula thing.
This scene does it. Like she can mesmerize anybody with this power.
And to that point, like she was wearing the outfit that pretty much had her boobs out and had to have it censored in Mexico, I think. But it pales a comparison to any of the Attitude Era outfits that women wore, where they would have basically their boobs spilling out and they would do the sort of like, be distracted.
You also got to remember they would have done the soft focus in WWE and also that porn music.
Yeah, and like she definitely shows her power here. It's face to face, and it's a tight shot, so you're not seeing anything else. Like,
can I tell you one of the things
that is a strong point.
Here's one of the things that I love about what Carly did with the Katrina character, and her as a person too. She's not enhanced. She doesn't have the fake boobs and this, that, and the other thing. She doesn't have a lot of muscle. She's not a gym rat per se. She's got a little bit of girth in the stomach. She's got a little bit of flab in one spot or another. But it actually makes her more attractive. And it's also something you don't ever see in wrestling. That
she was a normal lady in essence, basically.
Yeah, like, look, if you put her next to Ivelisse and you start comparing body types and features and this, that, and the other thing, Ivelisse is hotter by just the standard like picture of this and that and the other thing. But Ivelisse cannot inhabit it the way that Carly can. She can't do what Carly did with that Katrina character. And honestly, to me, it seems so much more liberating than when WWE does it, or even AEW or anybody else, what they try to do with a sexy female character. And the fact that she's a normal girl in a lot of ways, and she is just a regular Latina. She doesn't have big fake boobs. She doesn't have huge muscles. She's not that other thing. She brings the sexiness and a sultriness that is a different variety. Perfect, by the way. Perfect. It is more natural. Even though it's still done up and made up and turned into this character, it is more natural, but it also fits perfectly into a Robert Rodriguez world and story.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I saw in this scene. And you don't even realize how well her character is actually done, because we've seen so many crappy versions of this in so many other places throughout wrestling. Because let's be honest, they know that sex sells. They know that the primary audience is pent up young men who are sitting in their basement alone watching wrestling. I can't say that I haven't been one of those myself. Like, look, we're all that guy. They know that we're that target market, and they're going to cater to it at times, whether they mask it a little bit now or not. Let's not pretend that Alexa Bliss isn't trying to cater to that for you. Look at the girl without the makeup compared to with the makeup. Not saying she's not completely pretty without it, but she is literally dolled up for your attention and affections as a viewer. Let's be realistic. She wears those shorts that are cut a certain way for a certain reason. Don't think that Vince wasn't like, cut the shorts shorter. I mean, come on. We know that it's still happening even in this day and age, where it might be done a little bit better than they did with Trish Stratus or whatever before. Like, it might not be as skeevy as before, but it's still done. And it was obviously being done with Katrina, but she was in on it, and it was done better with her. And I will give them all kudos for it.
Yeah. And she also was supposed to be hypnotizing people.
And it worked.
General,
I was hypnotized.
Yeah. It wasn't like, let's put a hot woman on and this guy be hypnotized by her boobs. It's like, here's is 200 kayfabe, by the way. Don't tell anyone, hot half zombie woman, and you're just gonna be powerless.
Right.
Now, that's the thing. It wasn't the visual kind of ooga or like, it was the aura of her that enticed people. And
I mean, it was a little bit the camera shot, like Byron said, a little bit. The camera shot was obviously there to titillate. But
that was it. There was like that was the only like shot. It wasn't. I don't
know. The face-off shot where they're lip to lip, like this far apart, was obviously meant to be like, oh, hey now. Like, it was meant to cause that, but it did, without going any further, without talking about it, without making it into some weird pervy joke like Vince would do, without turning it into some storyline where you can't have my girl like AEW or TNA would do, one of those kind of shows, like a Mid-South, don't touch my valet kind of storyline. Yeah, like the Miss Elizabeth thing. Like, come on.
It did seem when they did that shot and they cut to a wider shot, I was looking at Angelico and Son of Havoc to see what they were doing. They looked as frozen as we were.
Well, but here's the part that confounds me the most about this whole thing is what we still haven't dialed in here, storyline wise and writing wise, is what exactly is Katrina's power set? Now she can manifest the disciples out of a bolt of electricity that's coming from the rock that's only supposed to control Mil Muerte. Like, what the fuck are her powers?
Everything.
I don't know. It's so weird. So now she's making other people teleport and not just her.
Yeah, no, that they've always done that. They came out from the ring. They always do that sort of thing.
Yeah, but this time it was with, a Trancer 6 electricity bolt. Okay.
Yeah, also.
I did like how they came up and they beat them down. But I also like how they do a cinematic sort of cheesy beatdown instead of the typical backstage just club on the back until they
Yes. Yes. So it was fine. I mean, look, they're the putties from Power Rangers, basically. At this point, I think they make it a little bit better than that, but I think initially they're basically the putties. They come out and do the bidding before somebody turns into a giant monster. It's fine. It's totally fine. And then Mills walks hand in hand with Katrina to the ring.
But he gets the thing with the eyes.
Yes.
He looks up, you get the sound hit.
He was very robotic, and they're making him a little more zombie-esque at this point with the eyes and whatnot.
That was a good match, by the way.
Then the match with Drago was great. Again, we were in the crowd. I liked having the weird Hernandez run-in where Drago literally gets his wings clipped. I don't know exactly what sense it made in the grand scheme of things, but at the same time, it worked for me, and I was there, and I was happy to see Hernandez and yell baby nuts at him. The match itself was, I thought Drago did a great job selling for Mil. They had worked together before as Macias and Drago, and they know each other. I think they did exactly what they were supposed to do for the character here. This was not about getting over moves or getting over some great match. This was 100% about getting over this version of the Mil Muertes character. I think Drago was the perfect selection to do that. And he took it on the chin exactly the way he was supposed to. Just enough Lucha Libre getting shut down by the hard-hitting, almost New Japan kind of style that, Macias, Ricky, whatever you want to call him, Mil Muertes, which is pretty much
Gilbert.
what he calls himself all the time now, Gilbert, whatever. He's a badass. He's a tough dude.
I love him. He's brilliant, yeah.
And he has been for a long time, and I don't even want to know what he does in his spare time that makes him like that, but man, you talk to this guy in real life.
He's so lovely.
He's so nice and affable, but at the same time, you're still
Terrifying.
definitely afraid of him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look that big, but he still is. He's one of those tiny big kind of guys,
Yeah, he's my height,
And his head, the thing is, his actual head
tiny.
isn't that big, but then all of this is just
his neck. I mean, I am broad.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was like,
I think there's a picture that we
his
have
shoulders are fucking huge.
of us and him. Maybe I'll post it on the MMM Show Twitter this week. There's a picture of us and him backstage at Lucha Underground. And he's not in any kind of costume because he doesn't really care about protecting the kayfabe. He's been in and out of hoods his whole life, so he doesn't give a crap. But I'll have to post it because I think it's weird when you see, me and Byron standing next to him and we're bigger. Again, this is that whole cage thing too, where you think that these guys, but at the same time, I've never not been intimidated standing near him in any fashion, whether it be him in the hood out front. You get the hell out of his way, and when he says something, you
call him sir.
Yeah. So anyway, that match was great. Mil wins. The belt choke beat down by Baby Nuts was great. Drago, great. This was all in all to me a good episode of Lucha Underground, even with a Sexy Star match in it.
It was a good Sexy Star match.
If the episode had started right with the Pentagon promo, I would have been happier.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's the best Sexy Star match that you could ask of her. She loses and then gets the shit kicked out of her after the match.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
That's nothing wrong with that. She took a beat down. She bumped decent. I don't know. In other Lucha related news, congratulations to Pimpinella on opening up that chicken shack or whatever the heck it's called, La Pimpy's House of Pollos or whatever. Congrats. I don't know if this is the right time to be opening a restaurant.
Fantasma Senior has opened one in Mexico City as well.
But and look, for Pimpinella, like the writing's on the wall. The career's not really going to be in ring from this point on. It's time to branch out and start looking at stuff. Pimpy's got a little bit of money in the bank. Hopefully this will work out. I certainly would eat Pimpy's chicken myself. I don't know if that's something I should say. Anyway, Besos, Pimpy. And to the family of Damien 666 and everyone around there. Oh my God. His wife, I believe, passed from COVID, but he's doing okay. And they have a big family, and I know they were together for the holidays, so I hope it doesn't sweep through the whole family. But our hearts go out to them, and hopefully the whole family is just not, affected any further by this. They already have been, but dude, Corona just ain't no joke, man. I'm dealing with some family members who have it right now, and it's just nothing to fuck with. It's just nothing to play with. It's bad news, man. And my heart goes out to anybody who's dealing with it. And hopefully we all find ways to stay safe out there and get through this thing and start getting these vaccines out. And, I know it's being a little slow, and I know American politics is crazy time right now and this, that, and the other thing, but hopefully we'll all get through this. We got through the last 10 months of this nonsense. So hopefully we can get through another 5 or 6 and start to get to the other side of this thing for real, for everyone's sake. We'll see. You guys got anything else?
I have a lot.
Happy birthday to Silver King. That was a classic.
Yes,
that was today, which is the 9th. Yeah.
And Byron, you have a lot, but we're not going to deal with it.
I'd like to.
Like what?
I don't have anything beyond that. I thought.
Yeah, that's right. Caught you this time. So until next time, I know you were setting me up for the joke, but I wanted to play it the other way this time. Anyway, until next time, happy 2021 and stay calm and stay in the mix.